Men are pissed off at women, and women are pissed off at men. Women got pissed off long ago and started a whole movement. They called it feminism, but I call it figtow or wigtow. Women going their own way. That movement really caught on, and it took about 100 years for men to do MGTOW. What's going on here? Why do some really good guys end up getting screwed over by toxic women, and some good women, really genuinely nice women, get screwed over by toxic guys? Why do we insist on pairing in such a manner? Well, there's some really interesting dynamics at play with the whole opposites attract phenomenon. I won't go into that because I have another video where I talk about that in depth. But I do want to add to that rant, the idea that at a fundamental level, men and women are not evolutionarily primed for commitment. Not in modernity. See, there's evolution, there's what evolution trains us to do, and then there's the world of incentives that we are surrounded by through laws, economics, culture, faith, religion. We are fundamentally creatures of incentive. I mean, you can train animals by giving them a treat, you know? I mean, you can change the behavior. You can actually change evolutionary behavior through incentives. So incentives are a very powerful way to hijack evolutionary training. And currently, modernity is offering no incentives. In fact, it's actually offering incentives to not be together. It's offering incentives for couples to break up. But also, there's an evolutionary training that is not helping either. I think at a fundamental level, the biology, the male and female biology, when it comes to pair bonding and sex, the man is programmed to desire the woman, and the woman is programmed to desire the children. So when a woman is very aroused, the arousal is triggered by her fertility, her eggs, her ovaries kind of calling out, please impregnate me. And the man doesn't have ovaries. The man's programming is, please impregnate her. So the man's, locus of control sexually is the woman. Whereas a woman's locus of control is her eggs, her ovaries, her own fertility. And so, this is why women will be very horny, in early years of high fertility, which is dwindling largely in modernity. Women aren't as fertile anymore because they're taking the pill, they're putting all sorts of chemicals on their skin and consuming all sorts of garbage. They have no contact with their sexuality anymore. A lot of modern girls, they don't even feel anything for men. And so, lesbianism and asexuality is just kind of, or even autosexuality is all just kind of rising, and soon will be far greater than heterosexuality in the West. And so, at a programming level, men want to impregnate, women want to get pregnant, just at a fundamental programming level. And so, when the man puts his seed in the woman, evolutionarily the mission has been accomplished. When the woman takes his seed and gets pregnant, evolutionarily the mission has been accomplished. Evolutionary programming hasn't focused on much other besides that. This is why culture, faith, social norms, religion, laws, legislation especially, have sort of come in to fill in that gap and try to create incentives to shape the nature of pair bonding. But if we had been left to our own devices, evolution would say, okay, man, get her pregnant, then go off and get someone else pregnant, right? The woman says, find the man to get you pregnant, and then focus on taking care of the kids, find a way to get resource protection. And there's nothing in her programming that says that protection and that resource has to come from the one who impregnated her. I don't believe. This is my hypothesis. I think evolutionary programming is very hardware level, very basic stuff. Now, mix in a little bit of civilizing forces, right? A little bit of intelligence, a little bit of theory of mind, mix in a little bit of all these things that happened later on in our evolution, and you create the nuclear family. The nuclear family emerges out of this. It's kind of a triangular system if you think about it. Think about the man vectoring toward the woman, and the woman vectoring toward the children. And the children are going to vector toward the father. When that happened, when we realized, hey, if we stay together and create this thing called monogamy, a beautiful triangular and circular system emerges that becomes, I think, the foundation of civilization. Once we arrived at the nuclear family as an institution, it became sort of the bedrock of all the other civilizing forces that came afterwards. But unfortunately, all of that evolutionary programming is still there. For some people more dormant than others. And so a man feels still that pull, that attraction to the female form, even if he is secured a monogamous relationship, and the woman is craving attention and vectoring from other men. And so, when society starts to introduce incentives that break apart the union, there's already something there, a little dragon and monster sleeping in the recesses of your consciousness, just waiting to awaken. And current culture, systems of laws are not only not incentivizing people to stay together, it's incentivizing people to break up. And so what you're seeing emerge is a lot of individuals who are showing who they truly are, or how far the evolutionary training has actually shaped them. How much of them is still hardware, and how much of them has some really strong software operating on top of that hardware that keeps them in a state of discipline and order. So, if you want to see my further elucidation on why opposites attract, I think it's quite fascinating. I'll put a link to that down below. Feel free to check that out. But yeah, men and women are not primed for commitment. I would say evolutionarily, I think women are more primed to commitment than men, because becoming pregnant can be very debilitating. But I think evolutionarily, the woman is not seeking commitment from the man. She's seeking commitment from the entire family, the entire tribe, his parents, his siblings, or his sisters, or her own immediate family. She's seeking commitment from all of that. Because evolutionarily, the man was always out, hunting, usually dying, usually getting mauled by a bear, okay? And so evolutionarily, the training that the woman has as far as her orientation towards seeking commitment is not oriented toward him, is oriented toward external elements around him or around her. So as long as she gets his seed and she has that external support group, she's set. That's what her driver is. This is why oftentimes when women choose a man, they are looking at all the other support groups that he might be bringing into her life. And as long as she secures favor with her family, then she doesn't really need him anymore, not intrinsically. She doesn't feel intrinsically the impulse to hold on to him. And men, likewise, although a very different dynamic, once they impregnate the woman, they have the imperative to want to continue impregnating more women, because a woman can only get pregnant once every 9 months, but a man is every day, his supply is being refreshed. His supply of every heartbeat, I don't know how many thousand sperms are generated in your body, just every single heartbeat, thousands of sperms being produced by your body. And so, but what happens with the opposites attract thing is that those who are more civilized end up with people who are less civilized, and it happens in both ways. Civilized women ending up with uncivilized men, and civilized men end up with uncivilized women. And what is causing that to happen? Well, I explained that in my other video, so take a look at that. Thanks for watching.